for the elections. However, even that should be seen, this eruption, in terms of the election, so that everybody is jittery and the ruling institution has the upper hand. This is a tactic used by the ruling institution. The main features of the opposing groups, which is the Shiites as well as the leftists, the main feature of the, so that you know, the opposition to the government comes mostly from Shi'i broad elements and the politicized elements under an organization called Wifaq, as well as a broad spectrum of opposition. Sometimes Sunni religious opposition is against the government, but there are the leftists who are becoming a very vocal voice, who were originally people associated with Marxist and other movements who have come now into the Bahraini scene to have a voice and a clear voice. The demands are clear. They all demand, the opposition, they want equitable sharing in power and the economic wealth of the land. They demand transparency, less autocracy, respect of human rights. These are the basic. There are various small ones. As a result, there is blatant, intense, and politicized disparities in the society. They are divides. There is the divide between the sectarian groups Shi'i-Sunni, divide between tribal and Ajmi, those who came later than the tribes or before than the tribes to Bahrain. There are also a divide there. There is a divide clearly between the poor and the rich, and there are poor people in Bahrain. Don't believe that it is a Gulf country that poor people are rich. They're not. Even Saudi Arabia, there are poor. So these are the divides. And something in addition for you to remember when we talk about Bahrain is that it has had a history of educated public, politically conscious. Early on, since before the British and during the British, they used to send their children to India to be educated, and there is a lot of that. And the debates and political discourse is exacerbated by this picture that I am giving you. It colored relationships. In the final analysis, people repeat a request. We want an application of the Constitution that you gave us in 2002, which states that everybody is equal, male and female, and they have equal rights to everything that is offered by the state. This is the heart of it. Recently, this is Bahrain. Now, again globalized, although in a lesser intensity than the other areas. But today, Bahrain is undergoing these tensions. And with the voting, with the election campaign going on, look at the numbers. These are all, so many people can vote. And you remember from the previous slide, the population of Bahrain is only 1.25 million, okay? And 318,668 are registered voters. They have to have a certain economic base, they have to be educated, can read and write, and so on. But that gives you an idea that the population is aware and politicized and see the election as a means. And among those, there are 9 women. I'll show you a little bit more of women are of all forms and shapes who come to vote. Okay, and here you see even much more conservatively. Look at these election platforms from 2006. Bahrain has had elections for, this is the 3rd election. 2002 was the first. Of course, you have to understand, in 2000, Bahrain had a king with a certain plebiscite and agreement where he gave a constitution 2002. At the end, he and his cohorts, the more powerful, did manipulate the constitution where he has the sole legislative power, but there is a house of representatives that are elected. There is a house also that are appointed by the king. And you have to understand, even the elected are manipulated. This is what we are talking about, the election. the voting that is going on. While in 2006 we had 17 women, this year we have only 9 women. Many of them are women I know. Many of them are women I interviewed. Even some of the males I have interviewed, whether they are on the extreme left or even some of Asala and the very religious right. I have interviewed them, and the issue is that everything is political and everything is colored by this political hue, which has sectarianism and the issue of the need to give the disenfranchised a little bit more say in the government. If you look at the women candidates this year, one of them, who is a government loyalist, got it uncontested because she was placed in a district where there was nobody. It's practically empty. From Sitra Island, which has practically no human beings living in it. But she is a representative. Okay? Then you look at the others, like Wa'ad, the progressive current, has one candidate, Dr. Fakhro, a very close friend of mine. She has been running for it. She is a Columbia graduate, a PhD graduate, highly conscious, highly political, highly for women's rights. And last time she lost because there was manipulation of the districts. This year she knows she will lose, but they run in order to put on a statement. You can ask later. Put your questions, because I am too my thoughts will Dr. Fakhro, who is running, will, knows that most probably she is running with 2 males. They are incredible. I've read all their campaign literature, maturity, clarity, and pragmatism. They know they have to work within the system, and they are manipulating that. This is why I tell you, women's rights have a chance when we have a continuity of this vein of voice. She has a tent for her candidacy, and the kind of people who came to her tent, the kind of people who are talking, gives you an idea. They all talk, and it's the common people. Don't think she has a PhD. Everybody, all her constituency doesn't. They are the poor, mostly Shi'i as well as Sunni. She is a Sunni, but that has no problem when it comes to the progressive elements. They are pushing for lack of sectarianism. They do not want this kind of break. They want a citizenship that provides for everybody. And all the women candidates are for women's rights, are for a woman's betterment. There is a very subtle, continuous discrepancy and discrimination against women, in spite of quite a lot of developments and changes that women have been given since the king has come. There has been reform in employment. There are more women employed. Education. At the universities, almost 70% of university students are women. 31% of all lawyers in the country are women, and many more are coming. Practically everybody graduating from Bahrain University, where I taught, where I know the people, are going to be lawyers. They see the law as a way. I have interviewed quite a lot of lawyer women who see this as, as a very important channel in order to bring about reform. They are all for anti-sectarian politics. They, of course, it's a very religious country. Don't misunderstand me when I talk about the progressives. They are a small element, a small voice. But generally, even those who are religious see progress, development in a very liberal, open tone. Okay? So, looking at these elections gives you an idea of how far this country has gone and how important, And if I want to look at the struggle of women for rights, for canonizing rights, for codifying their rights, we have to look from within this perspective of politics, international